This is Mortgage Note Podcast. I'm Scott Kimbler. We're speaking with Sean Faries, the CEO and founder of Land Gorilla.
Our customers are construction lenders. They could be commercial banks, community banks, credit unions, uh, independent mortgage bankers, private money lenders, etc. And those type of loan products, those types of construction loans, they're much more involved than say your traditional mortgage, and that usually entails what we call the administration of that loan or that construction loan. So that could mean everything from managing and adhering to all the covenants of the construction loan agreement, administering the draw process or disbursement process to that loan, which gets pretty complicated and intricate when it comes to, things with change orders and inspections and, title searches. So our platform helps construction lenders manage that process and connect all the project stakeholders. So your borrowers, their contractors, title companies, HUD consultants in some situations, all along with the construction lenders, create one centralized, real single source of truth, per se, for them to work and collaborate to do what they need to do.
So, this is a way of streamlining the process and helping to keep it organized for the people involved on the lending side?
Yeah, I mean, it really, at the end of the day, it really helps everybody. Our clients at the end of the day are, is a lending institution. But the platform, really helps bring all the stakeholders together to streamline the process.
So, is it the lenders that would directly contract with you and then you would be the go-between, or you would be the software that the lenders use?
Yeah, great question. The lenders contract with Langwell, so they'll subscribe to our software platform, and typical engagement. They go on board, configure their platform, and onboard all their construction loans, right? And they get them all digitized and set up on the Langwell platform. Then they send out invite to borrowers and the general contractors that are associated with those loans. So everybody has a login experience to see what's happening on the loan.
So it sounds like a lot of people can have access to this information and sort of keep up with the flow of things.
We make it as easy as possible for people to get that information and exchange information. And then, behind the scenes, those wheels and that magic starts to happen that ends up just making their lives a lot easier, helping borrowers and contractors paid a lot faster, helping the construction lenders stay compliant, reduce risk, and provide a great customer experience at the end of the day.
So if an independent lender comes across your product, and because people from industries always talk amongst each other, if like an independent lender or even a big box lender comes across your product somewhere in the field and says, wow, I would really like to look at that for this business, how much of a process is that to integrate your software and your technologies and ways of doing it?
We can go about as fast as they want to go. And I think, less than 3 months, probably averaging around a month and a half, your typical onboarding time for a client of ours.
So once they're onboarded, I would assume that they're learning throughout this process how to use things. Can they see their efficiency improve after this onboarding process?
When you go to start automating some of these tasks, especially the mundane stuff, document collection and e-signature collection and, following up and sending reminders and going and checking to see if something was done. When you have those things done for you, that becomes your new normal.
So what is your background and how did you come to be involved with even something like Land Gorilla?
I never envisioned founding a company, like Land Grill. It just was not something that I, really sought after to go do. And My personal story, I got wiped out pretty hard during the financial crisis and ended up losing my home, which was a really, really tough thing. And right around the same time, my first son was born, right within like 30 days of founding Land Grille. And I had been, unemployed, was having a lot of difficulty finding a job, which is just a really low point in my life. And I had a friend call me up and said, "Hey, there's a bank out in the east. There's somebody looking for some inspection work to go out and inspect some construction projects." And all throughout high school and into my college years, I had done draw inspections for banks. I loved doing it. I had a friend teach me how to do it when I was 16 years old and drove all over California in my Honda Civic with my Polaroid camera and would fax in the reports and mail in the photos. And, I had a pager at the time. You can imagine what it's like having a pager in high school. It was really, I loved it. I loved the freedom out there, taking photos and driving, all over state to do these inspections. So, when I was kind of at that low point, you know, I had moved back at home, sleeping on the couch, had a newborn son, and pretty being desperate at that time. But when he called and said, "Hey, there's a bank out east looking for some inspection work to be done," I jumped at it. I did not hesitate. I jumped at it. I did the best job that I possibly can do. Um, and, went and created an LLC online and got a little business going. I want to say that year it did, $8,000 in inspection, and that was the first year. And, next year grew it and called one of my friends and said, "Hey, man, I need help with a website. Can you help me with this website? I want to try to do more of this. I want to pursue this a little bit more," and grew the company. But it all, everything that I did, I had no money, had lost everything. And I'll never forget Wells Fargo had issued me a $500 credit card. And I just thought, oh man, these guys were crazy for giving me credit, given I just lost my home in foreclosure and, I'd lost my job and, things were not so good. I can't believe they're giving me a credit card after. And it was with that $500 credit card that I incorporated the company and I got a phone going and, email set up with Google and a domain registered and, talked to my friend and he was, helping me put a lot of it together and got some development resources and then created a content management system and an order management system and then the loan management system. And it just grew from there.
When you get up every day, what makes you excited to keep doing Land Gorilla?
I think it's personal to me because of what I, just mentioned about that beginning struggle, and I want to say it was really a first part of my life that, um, I having to start over just is horrible, and I never wish it on anybody. And especially that late in my life, having to lose everything, my home, my job, my savings, and starting all this was really personal. Um, Having to start over, really personal. Um, that Langwell had to succeed, you know, not because it was the startup, not because I wanted it to, because it had to. And I think through that struggle and through those experience, something changed. Something changed inside of me.
Is there anything that I've not touched on that you'd like the folks to know about Land Gorilla or your personal journey to get here?
I just really want people to know that when you're out there, looking at companies and talking to companies, it's okay to ask questions about, the culture, the people that are there. There could be a huge difference or a huge spectrum of the way companies operate, and if they're not, taking care of their employees and creating a great company culture for those that are working there, how do you expect those people to treat your customers, treat your clients?
Join us again next time on the Mortgage Note podcast. I'm Scott Kimbler.